Hello, my name is Leroy Blevins. Welcome to Mysteries and Histories. In this episode here, what I want to do is I'm going to talk a little bit more about the fatal headshot to JFK and why JFK's head opened up like we see in this Zapruder film. Now, reason why I'm making this video and stuff and go more detail because someone's asked me, can I go a little bit more details into the fatal headshot to JFK? So what I'm going to do is I'm going to show you in this video here of how I come to the conclusion of what happened is because there's a lot of facts we have to look over when the fatal headshot occurred. So first off, I want to say viewer discretion is advised on this part here in this video because I'm going to show a lot of images and stuff like that and go into a little bit more detail. So, if you're squeamish or anything else like that, you might not want to view this video. But, like I said, and when it comes to JFK assassination, you have to explain everything so people can understand what actually occurred that day. And that's what I've done over the years in my investigation into JFK assassination. Okay, why a lot of researchers are still trying to work on their theories of the fatal headshot to JFK, where that came from, and working on their stories and stuff. Okay, after I found out where the fatal headshot came from, then I go to the next level, and then I go to the next level after I keep on doing this. And that's how I know more in details on a lot of things that happened that day, because I've already overpassed trying to figure out where this shot came from, that shot came from, because by the angles and stuff, I've calculated where all the shots came from. All the shots are accountable for and everything else, just like the fatal headshot. But then again, another reason why I want to make this video as well is because a lot of people says it was this certain type of bullet or this or that or this or that. But the reality of it all is it's one of them freak accidents that people don't think can never occur, but it does. You know how you go through that expression, karma, you want something to happen to somebody else, but it turns around and happens to you, or something that you look at and you go, oh, that can never happen, but it always does. Okay, that's what we have to look at when it comes to this part here, the fatal headshot JFK. So what I'm going to do is, as I'm going over this, I'm going to talk about it and go in detail so we can get the full understanding of why JFK's head opened up as we see in this Zapruder film and other images and even in autopsy images and stuff like that. So what we're going to do is we're going to start with frame 220 of the Zapruder film. And the reason why I keep going to this film here is because, remember, this is on this right side of it's on the right side of JFK as it's being filmed, and plus it's the only film that shows the whole assassination. So we're going to start with frame 220 here. Now the first shots already occur in frame 224 and then on and on and on. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to point out right here. Okay, this is frame 228, then frame 229. A bullet does strike JFK in the back of the head at this point in frame 229 of the Zapruder film, as you see right here. We can see the impact of the bullet entering the back of JFK's head and blood spatter right here coming out from where that shot occurred, where that bullet made impact. Then, as you see, when you go between frames 28 and 29, you see how JFK pushes his arms, goes up more. He's like this at this point. And then when he gets shot in the back of the head, because remember, he's reaching for his throat at this point because the bullet just exited. And at this point, he's going like this, okay? And then when that bullet strikes on the back of the head, he gets pushed forward just like this a little bit, and his arms come up, his shoulders come up, his face goes more into his hands and stuff, as you see here. As you see, this is frame 228, 229. See how he jumps up in his seat right there? When you keep an eye on JFK, just keep an eye on JFK, you see him jump up. See how he's jumping up, his arms are raising up more and stuff like that, because he was just shot in the back of the head. Now watch his head. See his reaction now? Now he's pushing over. See how his head's coming down now? See how his head comes down now? You see? Now, that was when the bullet first entered the back of JFK's head. That's the first headshot. That shot came from the second floor of the county records building. That shot was coming in from the left, going out to the right. Now, we're going to look at the point of fact of it. It entered JFK's head 15 centimeters. And what people don't know, if they don't know what 15 centimeters is, it's 5.91 inches. So when the bullet entered the back of JFK's head, it did not exit. It went in 15 centimeters, which is 5.91 inches, and stopped, which is stopped in this location, right about here in this location right here. From this point here to this point here. If you look at my hand right here, from this point here, entry, and it comes into here, but it didn't exit. It didn't exit whatsoever. It entered, but it did not exit. It went in 15 centimeters. Now we also have to look at the fact, now remember, JFK is looking forward at this point when a bullet strikes in the back of the head. Okay, now watch his head, how it's turning now. So his head's this way, now it's turning this way. So he's looking this way, and then all of a sudden his head's turning this way because of the bullet in his back. Back of his head. See now how his head is tilting down now. When we look at it, see the angle of his head now. Okay, he's looking down now. As you see here, his head's turned, and he's looking more over to his left now. Okay, so we got to take this in consideration as well when we're studying and analyzing the film stuff, and then we're going to see how the fatal headshot occurred. And as you see here, the more he goes down, the more his head's turning to the left. Now his body is like this still. Okay, he's more turning over to the left right now at this point because his head's more like this. And you got to remember, the vehicle now is going into an angle. See how he's going now here to where his hands are starting to drop. This head being this way, still angled to the left, as you see right here. See, his head is staying angled to the left, and he's going forward just a little bit, as you see right here. Okay. And see how he's being lumping over to the left, but at this point he's not going fully over because he has a back brace on, and Mrs. Kennedy is holding him in position as well. She's holding him upright. But see, the angle of JFK's head is tilted down to the left with his arms, come down, and his head's to the left. Okay. And remember, as his head's turned left, the vehicle is slightly turning to the left too, because remember, we got a curve, which I'll show you there in a minute. And then we have, coming up, see how she's starting to look around. His head's still angled downward and to the left a little bit. The angle of him is, because you can see him just like this. Okay. We have to look at all these points now. And right now, he just got the fatal headshot right there. As you see right there. So the bullet's striking right here. So see, the bullet stopped. When you go in and measure from the hole to the back of JFK's head in 15 centimeters, which is 5.91 inches, you'll see it's lining up right about in this location right here. Watch where that bullet enters, right? So the bullet that's inside JFK's head at this point, and by the angle, is right in this location right here. Okay, it's right in this location right here. And where that bullet comes in, the bullet strikes JFK's head. Okay, it strikes JFK's head and hits the other bullet location. And then we see him going off to his left, as we see right there. Now, as I pointed out, we're going to look at the map here for a minute. The fatal headshot came from shelter number 3, which I point out in my research and stuff like that, which is on JFK's right side. The bullet's going to come in an angle, coming downward like this to JFK, right? And it's going to enter right here. And what's right here on the other side, inside of JFK's head? That other bullet that struck JFK in the back of the head is already there. So we got to figure JFK's head angle at the time of the fatal headshot is tilted down over to the left a little bit, as we see in the Zapruder film. Okay, the vehicle is now turning more to the left, as you see here, because of this curve right here. Because remember, the fatal headshot happened here. Not the fatal headshot, excuse me, the headshot to the first and the back of JFK's head happened in this location. And by the time he gets to this location here, the gunman's, having a bead on him. Okay, and JFK's head's turned his body's turned just a little bit to the left. His head's turning looking down on the left. And then the other bullet is going to come right into that same location where that bullet entered and stopped. So see, we have to take a look at these, okay, when we do this. So we're looking at this. Remember, JFK's head was shot in frame 229. The bullet entered right here in this location here. Which, let me pull this one up. Let's see. Well, we'll just do it this way. We'll open this one back up, which I'm going to pull up, zoom in. Here's where the bullet entered, right here. Okay, the bullet entered is going to go in 15 centimeters. And that puts it right in this location right here. When it goes in 15 centimeters, puts it in this location right here of JFK's head. As we see here, remember, it's coming in from the left, going out to the right. So it's going to be angled in. It's going to come in from the left and going out to the right, but it didn't exit. It only came in 15 centimeters and stopped, which is 5.91 inches. So if we measure from here to here, puts it right in this location, right here where the bullet stopped on the inside of JFK's head. Just like I pointed out here, when we see frame 228, then 229, we see the bullet impact, blood spatter. We start seeing JFK's head, his arms and stuff come up, and we see his head being pushed over into his left, because you see, I mean, to his hand, and then to his left. Now, when we look at the skull, okay, we have the entry wound right here, okay, so the bullet's going to come in right here. So let me go ahead and bring up this one here, because I can go for a bigger view here. When the bullet came in, remember, he's coming down an angle now. It's coming down in an angle, because the second floor of the county records building, he's up above, so he's shooting downward, and then we get that downgrade. So the bullet's going to enter right here and then come in 5.91 inches, which is going to stop right about in this location right here. So the bullet's right in this location right here, and JFK's head's tilted down and over to the left a little bit. Okay, and then the car is moving, which is coming like this, and it's tilting going off to the left a little bit. Then when that fatal headshot occurred, it struck JFK, bring this back up, right in this location here where that bullet stopped. So what we're going to do is we're going to pull up this right here. The first headshot to JFK came in from the back, going from the left out to the right, enters 15 centimeters, which is 5.91 inches, and stops, as you see right here. As that bullet entered JFK's head, the back of JFK's head cracked. The skull part cracked a little bit, as you see here. Then, when the second shot, which was coming in from the right to the left, to the exact same location of that first bullet that struck JFK in the back of the head, when that bullet came in, it cracked the side of JFK's head. However, when these bullets collided with one another, so the bullets like here, stuck right here, JFK's head's turning stuff, and then when the other bullet came in, entered JFK's head, it's hit against that other bullet, as you see right here, and that's when JFK's head opened up, because when the bullets collided, the side of JFK's head, it busted in particles. That's why they only found fragments inside of JFK's head and in the back seat and stuff. They found particles, which is fragments. Both of them bullets collided inside of JFK's head, and that's why JFK's head opened up like it did. So the bullet entered JFK's head, struck the other bullet that was already in his head, 15 centimeters, and that's when JFK's head opened up. So when we go back, like I said, when we look at the facts, okay, and we study the angle of JFK's head at that time of impact, okay, we see there's a shot occurred, and the bullet entered 15 centimeters, which is 5.91. So we're going to go from the entry wound right here in 15 centimeters or 5.91 inches, and that's where that bullet's going to stop, which is on the right side of JFK's head. Right side. It's coming in from left, going out to the right, but it did not exit. It went in 15 centimeters and stopped. When that bullet entered the back of JFK's head, the back of the skull cracked open, cracked it a little bit, as you see right here. And then when the second shot to the right side of JFK's head made an impact right here, and with the angle of JFK's head looking down over more to the left, the angle of the car, position of the car and stuff, that put, when that shot came in, that lines right up to where that bullet stopped inside JFK's head. It lined straight up. Okay, it's one of them, like I said, it's one of them things you would never think would happens. Okay, but when you study the angles of the position of how JFK was at the time, and the car moving at the same time, we gotta look at that too as well. The car moving, and then the angle of the vehicle at the time when that second shot came in, and when that second shot came in from the right, coming down also as well, coming in from the right, it made contact with that bullet that came in from the left going out to the right. That other bullet was already in this location right here. Then when the other bullet came in and struck that bullet, made contact right here, as you see right here, JFK's skull cracked. It's already been cracked here from the first shot. Both bullets in the same location. The impact of it blows out the right side of JFK's head. And then we're going to find bullet fragments all through here, all through the limos and everything else, as it was told. So you see, when we study this, try to make understanding of it, and when we study this and we go more in depth and more in detail, and go by the position of JFK, how he was angled at the time, where the shots came from and stuff, we can make more sense out of it now because everything's lining up. Now we can say, well, now we know why there was bullet fragments all through JFK's head. We know there was bullet fragments all over the back seat now. We know why JFK's right side of his head opened up now. Okay, we know all this answers now. Before, we just seen JFK's head open up, but they're going to claim it was in the back, but it was actually on the side, right side of his head. But why did it do that? So people's going to say, well, they was using a certain type of bullet that when it enters, it explodes. Okay, and everything else. But if you read the reports, like the medical exam reports and other reports and stuff, and you read, well, the bullet struck JFK in the back of the head, coming in from the left, going out to the right, okay, entered 15 centimeters and stopped. And that's where the impact was at. Okay, a bullet that goes into somebody's body is not going to go 15 centimeters and explode just like that. The bullet entered, but it didn't exit. The bullet came in and it stopped. And then when that second shot came in, that's when it struck the bullet, as you see right here, which I'll zoom in. As you see right here, both bullets made contact right at this point here. As you see here, this part got cracked and this part was already cracked. And then when these bullets make contact here, it blows out the right side of JFK's head, as we see in this Zapruder film. Okay, and then that's why we have this right here. We have all the crackage and stuff. That's why this skull here was completely blown over to the left. Okay, and pieces of it was gone. That's why when we look at the autopsy images, okay, you'll go right here, see how this whole section is completely gone. It's destroyed completely. Same as we do when we look at we got the autopsy image and look at the image of the skull, as you see right here. This is completely gone. Okay, the other bullets came in, entered JFK's head, came into this location right here. That's 15 centimeters. That's 5.91 inches from the entry wounds in this location here. The other bullet comes in, smacks right here, blows out this whole side of JFK's head. You see what I'm saying? This is why this is completely gone. And we only have pieces. These are the cracks that was made from the bullets entering JFK's head. But when it exploded out, as we see in the films and stuff like that, that's the reason why we see it going like this. And that's why it looks like this. And that's how everything occurred. Like I said, JFK was shot twice in the back of the head. That's why JFK's head opened up as it did. Because the first shot occurred here. Like I said, when you're analyzing something, you have to understand. You got the positions of the gunmen. You got the shots they took. Now, after you know the positions they were and the shots they took, then we have to line up and see how everything occurred and took place. So the first shot happened right here. That struck JFK in the back of the head, coming in from the left. As you see, he's coming in from the left. If you go this way, which this arrow shows this right here. So we got the shot coming in from the left, going out to the right, but it didn't go out to the right. I mean, it didn't exit from out to the right. It came in 15 centimeters and stopped. And then JFK's head starts turning. He starts looking more to, looking down to his left. And his head's turned and everything else. The vehicle's starting to turn, and by the time he got in this position right here, that's when he fired his shot from the shelter, and it made contact with the other bullet that was already inside of JFK's head, which you see right here. And then when both of these bullets make contact, it's like a grenade going off. JFK's head opens up, and all you're going to find is fragments. Now, the reason why I want to make this video here and go more in depth, more in detail and stuff like that. Okay, like I said, when people done the research or their investigation or whatever you want to call it into the JFK assassination, okay, they're going to pull up one frame, one image and say, okay, this is a fatal headshot. It came in from the left or it came in from the right and everything else. But there's nothing, no explanations to it. Why did JFK's head open up? For years. And then recently someone comes up, well, it was one of the exploding bullets. When it entered JFK's head, it exploded. Okay, being shot from the back and behind. Okay, but when you look at realistic now and you go by the angles and you go by the locations of the gunman and stuff like that, and then when you see it in motion and you pinpoint exactly when you shot, excuse me, I need to take a drink. Sprite today. But when you see how his head is turning and how the vehicle's turning, okay, it makes more sense now. And then when you see the bullets, when you know the bullets impact inside JFK's head and stuff, now you know why there's fragments all through JFK's head, all over the back seat and stuff. Like I said, the evidence has always been in front of the public's eye. It's just no one ever took the time to sit down and try to piece it all together. Just like the gunman's location and everything else. It's always been a public eye, but no one wanted to take time to piece all this evidence together to get the information that the evidence shows us. That's why when I make my videos and stuff like that, people has questions and stuff, I try to answer as much as I can. Okay, but what I try to do as well is I go through the details, because how can I, as a researcher, make a claim on something if I don't know what I'm talking about? So I have to go in depth. I have to go more and more in depth. Now, a lot of researchers, they say the fatal headshot came from the south side or behind a picket fence. They said JFK went back and then he went to the left and that's it. But all they're doing is telling a story. Okay, where's the gunman behind the picket fence? What specific location was he firing from? What specific rifle did he use? Why did JFK's head open up this way? When we watch the film, he don't go back and to the left. He's going to the left. So, you know, they're not worried about that because they're worried about selling the story. Remember, they're portraying them as experts. I'm an expert. So I've been studying this film for 20 years, 30 years, 40 years, 50 years. You know, so I'm an expert when it comes to JFK. It's what they're telling us. But when you ask a question, it's like, well, what type of rifle did he use? Well, we don't know exactly what type of rifle they use. It came from behind a picket fence. And if you say, and if they say, well, yeah, it came from behind a picket fence, what's your evidence that showed that it was behind a picket fence? Well, this eyewitness said this. Yeah, but then you can say, well, as a participant, you're just sitting there saying, hey, wait a minute now. This eyewitness said the gunman was behind this part of the picket fence. This person here says, this eyewitness said it was on this part of the picket fence. This other one said it was over on this part of the picket fence. Okay. And then we have a guy claiming he was using a firebolt and he was behind a picket fence. So what location, the specific location that these people are talking about? Because they're lining up different types of gunmen all up and down this picket fence area. So, you know, what part? Okay, so they're going to say, well, that doesn't matter. We know the shots came from behind the picket fence. We know JFK's head opened up. Okay, so all them questions, it really doesn't matter, is what they're going to tell us. I mean, I've actually asked a couple people that and stuff like that. Just like, God rest his soul, Jim Myers, when I talked to him, he literally says, hey, with much details that you go into, you know, much details you can see that you spend a lot of time and piecing all this together. He says, you pieced in more than I have. You know, God rest his soul. Like I said, you know, he's a good researcher. I give him high credit. You know, he was right. There was a crossfire. Okay. But like I said, a lot of these researchers are basing their findings and their stories and stuff basically on what's told to them by witness accounts. Okay, that's why when it came to my investigation, I didn't base it mostly on eyewitness accounts. I see what happens first, and then I ask eyewitnesses this, or I go into their stories and see who matches what I see. Okay, just like when we do an investigation into paranormal investigations, we see all the time where they'll sit there and ask people questions first before they do their investigations. Okay, but all they're doing is saying, like, hey, this person said this happened in this location here, and I'm feeling the same thing, so this is true. That's why I never ask questions. I ask questions after. I do my investigation first, then I ask the questions. And when I ask the questions, if their answers are coming exactly what I found, then I say it's true. But if they're saying something different about in this location or this location, well, I didn't feel nothing in that location. I didn't feel nothing in that location. Okay, that's what I do when I do my investigations. I don't ask questions first. I investigate first. I look at what I see first. Then I start piecing it together, whose story is true and whose story is not, because I already know what happened, because I see it with my own eyes, what's happened, what's taking place, and what's going on. Other researchers never did that. They jumped right into it, and someone said a gunman was behind a picket fence. Can't specifically tell you what section behind a picket fence, but behind a picket fence. That's when they start doctoring it a little bit and go, oh, well, he went back and to the left. When we see in a Zapruder film, he actually went to the left. But they can take out frames to where it shows he's like here in one position, and take out 2 frames or 3 frames, he's already back. And then we see him going over to the left, when actually he's going actually over to the left when you watch frame by frame by frame. I wanted to make this video here that went more detailed stuff on why JFK's head opened up and stuff like that, so people can understand, okay, and go a little bit more in depth as you see here. The reason why JFK's head opened up, as we see in the Zapruder film, is the first shot came from the first shot to the back of JFK's head came from the second floor of the county records building by that gunman. The bullet entered 15 centimeters, is coming in from the left, going out to the right, entered 15 centimeters, which is 5.91 inches, in the side of JFK's head. Then we studied the angles, and remember, when that first shot struck JFK in the back of the head, it cracked his skull at that time. Bullet enters in this location right here, and it stops in this location here. Then when JFK was shot from the first gunman inside shelter number 3, through the windows there, that bullet came in from the right, penetrate JFK's head, made contact with that bullet that was already in JFK's head, and when his bullet entered, also cracked JFK's head, which made it more loosened. And then when the 2 bullets collided, that's when JFK's head opened up, and that's why we had the bullet fragments and stuff inside JFK's head and all over the back of the limo. Like I said, I can go in detail and stuff because I study this, I analyze this, I look at positions, how JFK was, at that time of the impact and everything else, and I got to look for this to come up with, to find these answers, because people ask me questions, but I want the answers as well myself, so I have to look for it. So don't forget that like button, don't forget to subscribe, don't forget to tell your friends about us. Always in the description down below, you find a site where you can order my book, Evidence of Conspiracy. The only book you ever need in JFK assassination. Share this information and other information on my other videos on your social medias and other networks so people may know this information. Thank you, and you all have a pleasant day.